Hi guys, how you doing? I hope you're well. In this video I'm going to be going through my AS and A-level photography work. I studied photography, art, business studies and product design at sixth form, and so this is going to be a little sketchbook walkthrough, sketchbook tour from my A-level days. So I've got my AS coursework exam, I'm not sure which year, there's 2 books for that, and my A2 exam book as well. So I'm going to flip you around. We're going to have a little sketchbook walkthrough. I hope you enjoy. So this is my AS coursework, photography. My statement of intent for the project is, I've been given a theme of time. In response to this, I intend to explore how light affects the landscape and its surroundings at different times of the day, and I would particularly like to focus on the sky and different colours and shapes which are created. I'd also like to explore cogs and other mechanical shapes within clocks and watches. So I used a lot of brown paper for this. I guess we had to do a load of like theory type stuff as well. So origins of photography, different photographers. We created pinhole cameras. We were lucky enough to have a light room at the school. So there's a little pinhole camera. Hopefully you can see that I made out of looks like a beer can. Lovely. I'm sure the teachers enjoyed providing the materials for that. So these are photographers that use pinhole cameras as well. These are photograms, so I think that's something to do with like putting items on photo paper and then exposing them and then developing them. So that's a necklace and my earrings I remember wearing. My glasses, a pencil. Anyway, how to make a photogram, Man Ray, Laszlo Moholy, Adam Foose. My responses to his work, so we obviously did like cloud type stuff with cotton wool on photo paper, looking at aperture and shutter speeds. That's my picture of my friend in London. We did a day trip to London to take a bunch of pictures. John Deere tractor, a picture of my sister at the beach. Processing film, lenses, bunch of contact sheet. So we had to make a contact sheet of all the negatives and then select the ones that we wanted to not use and use. How to use a test strip, vignetting, using toners to colour prints. So I made that blue. I say my poor sister was my guinea pig for this, but she loved to pose, so she enjoyed it too. So I ended up taking quite a lot of pictures of her for my photography stuff. Printing through textured surfaces, so obviously I printed through bubble wrap there. Love a mind map. Artist responses to Dennis Chamberlain. So I like how Dennis has used bright colours in this photograph, helps to add an element of drama to the image. So Dennis obviously does some like lovely landscape pieces, and I have attempted something similar, drawing with light. Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun with this. So Lichtfactor crew obviously do drawing with light photography pieces, and then I went out and did some of my own. That was fun. Where was that? I think that might have actually been in the dark room at school. Another one of the light paintings. I think I just went a bit mad. I don't think there was any rhyme or reason to what I was doing there, but there you go. My film responses. Oh yes, I had a film camera for a bit. That's outside the front of my parents' house. Got my sister to dance around, and I think that's that actually. How not to print. So yeah, I obviously picked some of the ones that didn't go so well and put them in. Photograph of scaffolding. Oh, this must have been when my parents were extending our house, so we had scaffolding all over the house. This must have been like 2008, 2009, around then. My photographs, these are film pictures that I took in London. A bit overexposed really, aren't they? Objects of time. This is where I move on to watches and things. These are digital, taken with a DSLR. I had a Canon at the time, and then I couldn't afford my car insurance 1 month, so I had to sell it. Or 1 year, sorry, I pay annually. 2.5 second exposure, so that's pictures of clock pieces that I've taken with film. And then, I don't know why that's a bit ripped. Oh, that's a test strip, isn't it? So yeah, and then I've obviously done some like composition type things where I've got a photograph of a clock face and then put bits of clocks and cogs and stuff on top quite cool. I've got to decide what out of all of this I keep. Some more of those photographs with bits laid on top of them, and then that's not got photograph. Oh, it might have a photograph behind. Some more digital pictures of a watch. I think that was my dad's watch. Don't think it was real. Oh, I remember this thing. Where did I get that? Probably from my granddad or something. I might have borrowed the innards of a clock. Light, another concept within the theme of time which I'm exploring is light and how it affects the sky at different times of the day. So just a bunch of pictures of sunsets. Aaron Rose is another photographer that I explored. Oh, okay, so because he does pictures of clouds and stuff in a circle, I did my own pictures of clouds in a circle. Lovely purple and pink sunsets. David Hockney, a study on him. Collage type mismatch of digital photos. The amount of money we spent on all these materials. Jerry Oldsman. Oh, I quite like that. That's a negative that I then burnt and then developed. Love the textures in there. That's nice. Jerry Oldsman. This is like the weird film version of like Photoshop. So he's got the hands and then a picture of the boat on a lake there. And then this was my response to that. My hands holding some clocks with a landscape in the background. I think that must have been digital. My response. I've responded to this image with my own landscape view merged with an image of hands. I've also added elements of clocks to do origurst. Lovely like ombre. Such a shame the printer quality was rubbish. I think it's probably my printer at home though, to be fair. Some more Jerry Oldsman responses. I think that's footprints in the sand, like bird footprints in the sand mixed with clouds, rubbish. And another one, I think that was my own picture of a boat with some hands. These are not good. Gary Fabian Miller, photography study, that's not mine. These are photographs which I've taken in the morning of the same tree on different days in different weather conditions in response to Gary Fabian. So it's just a contact sheet. These are photographs which I've taken of Pulborough Brooks flooded in a foggy afternoon, the sun as the sun was going down. Don't know why, but there you go. I've taken further photographs of the clock so that I have more to work with for my final piece. Actually, I think the school might have provided those. Final piece ideas. Series of landscape images with reoccurring object merged into the landscape in a Jerry Oldsman style, arranged in a David Hockney style. Series of destroyed negative images, clocks, etc. This is the idea which I've chosen to develop into my final piece. Aaron Rose style black square backgrounds with a circle of sky and each overlaid with cogs from a clock. This is my final piece on a smaller scale, so that's what I ended up doing. Oh God, why did I do that? And that's obviously the negatives from that piece. Yeah, these are the final pieces. Oh, I do like the sunset there. Just looks a bit, oh well, I was learning, eh? That was AS, so year 12. AS coursework, yeah. So I think this might be the exam, I'm not sure. I think this might be year 12 exam. So, what's this then? Sanctuary. Contact sheet of lots of different pictures of where I recognise it's around where I live. Some pictures of my sister's face. The beach. Pulborough Brooks. So here we go. Beach huts. In this photograph, I've increased the saturation to boost the colours. I have also cropped some distracting features. In this photograph, I've increased the darkness and shadows in order to make the subject stand out. Nice picture of the bee. Alone. In this photograph, I've created a vignette to enhance the image. I've also straightened the image and adjusted the colours to get a better balance. Family. That's my sister. In this photograph, I've used the healing tool to remove distracting blemishes on the skin. I've also increased the contrast and adjusted the levels to make it look less dull. Bless her. Old. Editing. In this photograph, I've increased the shadows and darkness in order to enhance the lines and marks in the wood. Reflection, water. That was taken at Pulborough when the brooks flood. Tranquil. That's crap. Landscape. Hopefully this is in shot, but that is a view from a walk that we do around Arundel, around Swanbourne Lake, and that is Chichester Cathedral. And these are some like lobster traps, I think, down at Brighton Marina. So I must have like gone on several trips and then just reused all the pictures from those trips, so they're photographers that I'm obviously responding to. Nice picture of a robin. I took that up on the nursery near my mum and dad's house. Just studies. There's no like words with this, I guess, in an exam. It's just what you can do. I think it was like the whole day or 2 days we spent doing it. My response to that. So that's another view of or from my auntie and uncle's villa when the lake was pretty full there. We've been back in subsequent years where it's been dried up quite a bit. Colin was born at... Oh, so this is where all the information is. It's just on one page. So this is what I was trying to respond to, this drop landing in milk, I'm guessing. And I was trying to do it by taking a picture of water coming out the tap in my bathroom. Oh dear. Oh well. And that's the finished piece. Kind of worked, but it's not brilliant. In this photograph, the best feature has been focused on by cropping the image. I have played around with the levels and curves in order to get the colour I wanted. So that's book 1 of my exam. That's more of the water droplets. That's a bit of a mess. I obviously didn't get around to sticking all that down. Bubbles of water. Pretty poor, you can't really see what's going on. Come on, Steph, do better. Yeah. That's it blown up and made blue. I think because we were just shooting everything in manual, I obviously wasn't very good at doing that. Morel, my response to Morel. Oh, okay, so this is Morel's photograph. Hopefully that's in shot. So this is obviously a wine glass with 2 forks, and he's got it at an angle where it like makes the forks look bigger. And then I responded by taking a pretty basic picture, which is clearly 2 forks in a wine glass, which does not look great. So this guy obviously takes pictures of water, and I've taken a picture of water. Wow. Texture. Oh yeah, I remember doing stuff. My response, taking a picture of a rotten door. Weird stuff pressed up against light box type photographs. These are our photographers' ones, and then I'm sure my response will come up. So I've got a picture of a house mixed with the picture of the water, picture of the bee mixed with the picture of the water, picture of countryside with the water. I think that's a door with the water. Picture just a cathedral and my sister looking moody. Takira Sato does the pictures with dots of light, which is quite cool. And I think I've done a response to that. Not a very good one. I obviously didn't make these bright enough, the contrast isn't there. That's a picture of Littlehampton Beach. And another one, again, I haven't made it bright enough. I could do a much better job of all of this now. Mad. Experimenting with composition, so I've chopped up bits of the like bubbles and water pictures that I've taken, and then started planning out the final piece, and then lots of pictures of bubbles and things, and that's it. I don't think I have a final piece in there, so that's my exam. I don't know where the final piece is. We end up like mounting them and doing a show and everything, and perhaps they just got left behind. So this is A2, so I should be better by now. This is year 13. Passions and obsessions. Oh, my sister, my guinea pig, bless her. Some people are obsessed with the way they look. This can be in a positive way, trying to make the most of their appearance, or in a negative way, trying to cover up or mask their appearance. I've looked at the use of makeup and how it is used as a way of covering up. I've taken pictures of this person wearing makeup on only one half of her face. This shows the contrast between her natural appearance and a heavily made up appearance. The original of this image had a cream background, which made her shadow quite yellowy. In order to rectify this, I created a new layer and made the image black and white. I then erased the black and white to reveal colour underneath, so I had the colour face and hair and the black and white background. I then enhanced the image further by making the line down the middle straighter. I did this by using the clone tool. I adjusted the levels slightly, which made the contrast stronger, and I used a sponge tool on her eyes to make them more colourful. My poor sister. She didn't obviously wear that much makeup. She's naturally beautiful, she doesn't need it. I've then looked at how some people don't like the appearance so much that they refuse to have their photograph taken. This image is of a person on the beach using an interesting stone to cover her face so that she can't be seen I love the bright colours of this image. It was a sunny day at the beach, so the sky was bright blue. I think this works really well as a backdrop for the white hat. The white stone is also reflecting some of the colours from the surroundings, the blue sky and yellow. I think that was just a case of my sister picked up a stone and looked for it, and so I took a picture and then managed to fit it into my work in some way, as she is avoiding getting photographed. Hobbies and interests. Our family friend Dave had a motorbike and he came round one day, so I took some pictures of that, and that was a reflection in some of the chrome. Holiday, a picture of Brighton Pier and a seagull. Classic, I think that's called West Pier, isn't it? The one that's like burnt down. There's a lot less of it now. Rose. I think these are like responses to some of the words in that mind map. Cute. Chichester Cathedral, that pops up again. Stalking. People can become obsessive over other people, such as celebrities. Even murderers display obsessive behaviour. Some will go to the extreme of stalking someone, and I have shown this in my photograph. I've used a photograph of a snowy lane and a separate photograph of my sister taking somewhere different. I've then used the highlight tool to select my sister. I used the feather function to blur the edges, and I then copied and pasted into the picture of the lane. I pasted the image 4 times and changed the size of each copy to make it look as though they were getting further away. That's a picture of my sister at the beach, superimposed onto a picture of Snowy Lane, and a contact sheet, some photographer studies, some more photography studies looking at makeup, and then my own responses. So I got a light box and put different makeup products on the light box and took pictures of them on there. And here they are blown up. That one didn't come out too well, but some of them look okay. Some more photographer studies. This one is obviously pictures of twins. I'm not sure if they are the same person or if they are twins, but then I tried to recreate that myself. Oh my god. So this is pictures of me. So in this one, I'm in the bed and I'm on the bed. I'm in 2 places on the bed. I'm having a pillow fight with myself. I'm watching the TV, like changing the channel, and I'm scared. I'm bouncing on the bed and I'm annoyed at myself bouncing on the bed. That's a colour version of that. I'm in my Tesco uniform and I'm ready for a night out. Oh, remember that dress? Picture of my sister looking at herself. Some more photographer studies. Photograms. So back in the red room, what's it called? Photography room? I can't remember what it's called. So these are makeup. My Rimmel clear complexion, back when I was giving makeup a go. Try not to be bothered with it now. More makeup, and for some reason a cream egg, so it must have been Easter. Look at that. That was on a light box. I began looking at appearance and how some people can become obsessed with their own appearance. In some cases this can be obsessive about the way they appear to other people. Some people do not like the way they look and are obsessive about covering up the way that they look using makeup or shying away from the camera I then looked at an artist's double exponent. I've decided to take this idea of being held back or frozen in time with the rest of society developing and moving forward. I'll still be looking at and using different photographic techniques. I'm now going to look at movement and motion blur, the technique of panning, which created photographs which have a moving subject in focus with a blurred background. I intend to explore this further and aim to have a series of photographs which represent this idea. To reach the final outcome, I'm going to research artists who use the motion blur technique. I'll then use my own photographs in response to them into something more unique. So my writing ability was pretty poor back then. I didn't have Grammarly, so I've obviously got some mushed up cream egg and then done some weird. In this image I used a liquify tool and pulled apart parts of the picture in different directions, creating this effect. I prefer this image to the one above because of the abstractness, yet it's still defined colours within the mess. I've experimented with introducing movement and blur into the egg images. I did this using Photoshop. In the first image I add motion blur and then enhance some of the colours using the sponge tool. Oh, I remember where this goes. That's one of the guys that was also doing photography. So I found some people that created blurry photographs and then started doing my own in response. And that's obviously an art study of someone that uses motion in their photographs, and a contact sheet of me taking pictures of my sister riding up and down on her bike, basically. Oh my god, loads of contact sheets of that. Guess I had to take a lot of pictures. And there she is, riding up and down on a bike. These are another photographers. And then my responses, so spinning the camera as I'm taking the picture. I remember quite vividly actually doing the show for my final piece for this. Picture of logs. I like how you can still see what it is, but the rest of it's completely abstracted. The same with this. Now, when I'm watching people who aren't using image stabilization on their videos, I can't watch because it makes me feel sick. So looking at this, I wouldn't have been able to do it now. That's quite cool. Like when you get a mix of colours in there. That's a door frame. That's quite cool with the like light coming through it. For these more abstract photographs, I set up the camera to have a slow shutter speed and then adjusted the shutter speed. I was in quite a well lit library, so the small aperture to make the exposure longer. The photographs still turned out lighter than I wanted, so I edited them on Photoshop to increase the darkness in the image and used the sponge tool to bring out some of the colours in some areas. I think these images work really well with random lines and colours. Oh yeah, that's the roof of the library. That's the window in the ceiling. Yeah. That's in the photography room, the desk where the teacher sat, and then we'd sit around the edge and we had a desk in the middle. That's in a field. Oh, I've zoomed in on that one, or zoomed in and out really quickly. Oh, I remember doing these. That's in another field. I used another technique to create these photographs. I set up the camera so that the appropriate settings were used for the lighting conditions. Then as I was taking the photograph, I zoomed in and created the effect of movement within the image. I don't think that these images were as powerful as the previous abstract images, as they are neither abstract nor have a section of the image that's in focus. Although that works quite well. My superhero sister running away in school uniform. This was the only photograph where I experimented with adding the motion blur on Photoshop. Originally this image was of the subject running, but it was a still image. On Photoshop I used the filter blur motion blur tool, which enabled me to choose the angle at which the image was blurred. I obviously tried similar things with the Lightroom. That was the name of the room, the Lightroom. I wanted to experiment darkroom. I wanted to experiment with some darkroom images which linked more to the work which I've now developed. I therefore printed some of my abstract line images onto acetate and also a picture of a person. In the darkroom, I then layered these images. I experimented with using different exposure times but was not happy with the results, so did not take it any further. Fair enough. I decided that I really liked the very abstract, quite colourful images which I had done previously, so here is some more experiments trying to bring in more colour by photographing more colourful scenes. These were shots of people outside, so it incorporates the blue sky and multiple colours in their clothes and bags as well as the grass. They have worked quite well, although I think they're quite busy, so I need to simplify them down. Yeah, I just sat in the school field. It was summer. I sat in the school field and was just like, we were sat in a circle of friends. I was just taking pictures and as I was taking them around. And if I was like, "You taking pictures of me?" I was like, "No, you wouldn't know it's you." So yeah, some of them are like too fuzzy, like too blurred out, but some of them have some quite defined lines within them, which works better. That looks like it's in a polytunnel or something. More of the same. I think that ended up being one of the final pieces. Here I experimented with using artificial light in the images. These are the spotlights on my kitchen ceiling. To be able to create this shot, I used a longer shutter speed and a slightly bigger aperture to try to stop as much light coming in. Again, as I took the photo, I moved the camera to create these effects. In response to this, I'm guessing. More of the same. I think these might be the final pieces. Pretty blossoms on a tree, zooming in and out on those. Yeah, look at that. Lovely colours. I really like these photographs of the tree and blossom. The pink of the flower and the bright blue of the sky works well with the green of the relief to create a photograph which I think looks quite like an oil painting on canvas. Gosh, I could not spell. I don't like those so much. That one's quite cool. Here I've experimented with using an in-focus image of the tree and in Photoshop merged it with a blurred image. I used the eraser tool to remove areas of the blur to reveal the focus image below. I don't think that this has worked as well as I hoped, and with the winter sky the colours don't look as striking. I think the more abstract lines are more successful than this piece. Yeah, that's just a bit meh. I've tried doing some more simple images using fewer colours and tried to use less lines, but I think this has become too simple and the colours are not bright enough. I don't know, it's not too bad. Oh yeah. This image of cars, I think, has the right balance of negative space and bright striking lines. The image is colourful and bold, and I think it works really well. I agree, past Steph. That's cool. It's got those really like bright highlights in there. And same here. And some interesting texture going on there as well. With the, yeah. I've used sections of the previous images and put them together using Photoshop to create a new composition, which I think has worked well. However, I don't think this is good enough for a final piece yet. There's still more which I think I can do to it. I don't know, I like that. So that's a mixture of a couple of those. Oh, I didn't realise I ended up mixing them. Oh, printed it on acetate. Tried printing the previous photograph onto acetate to see how the image looks on a different material. It gives a different quality and more glossy finish, making the light reflect in different areas. That's so cool. I'm definitely drawn to more abstract stuff, and I obviously was at A level as well. These are my final composition arrangements which I created in the exam. I created 10 pieces in total, and by cropping sections from the best photographs, I've enhanced the colours in each by increasing the saturation and using the sponge tool. I have tried to make certain lines stand out by darkening some areas and highlighting others. So I had 10 and they were pretty big, and I arranged them all together. So I don't like those. I don't like either of those. Why did I choose that? I like that. Those colours are nice. And this is cool. That's alright. Not so keen on that one. Yeah, I really like these blue and red. They work so well against the dark. I'm not so keen on that. Final piece plans. Oh, there we go. So that's the 10 of them together, or 3 of them together. This works best. I hope I chose that one. Oh, there we go. 4. I'm not going to read through all that now. So that, I think that must have been what I used. Those are the final 4 that I chose. I wish I had chosen those 3 for that. They look like a series, don't they? Anyway, that's that. So those are my A-level photography sketchbooks. I found that quite interesting. I'm quite inspired by those abstract pieces as well, so I might be able to bring that into my work somehow. I'll try and like take some of those out and store them somewhere. I'm hoping when I go through some of my old hard drives I'll find the originals, because it'd be quite cool to print some of them out now, but yeah, I doubt they're even on there. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching me tour through my A-level photography work, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!